Well, lucky I got that. We'll quickly go through this. I won't say too much. Bio. And the past meetings are out there, so we record it, and the handouts are out there. Also, if you want to ask a question, you can do that and how to contact me. So let's get to the main topic, which is Microsoft Office and alternatives. Microsoft makes the world standard for the Office suite, which is word processing, spreadsheet, and presentation. There's many competitors out there trying to match them with different alternatives. You can save yourself money and complexity by getting the right version that meets your needs. So the first thing you should do is look at what do you need? What are you doing? Well, most people are doing some form of word processing and spreadsheet. So the word processing, Microsoft's version is called Word. Their spreadsheet is called Excel. And most users are doing things with these packages. Also in the Office suite is a presentation, and Microsoft makes a couple of products for that, PowerPoint and Sway. They're used by a small percentage of people. They aren't used by most people there. Even less people need a database tool like Access. Microsoft sells Access. So knowing what you need is going to help determine if some of these packages will give you what you want. Some of the suites also contain other tools in them or other software, like an email package. With Microsoft, it's Outlook. A video chat tool. With Microsoft, it's called Skype or Teams. Drawing and flow charting, that's called Publisher. Digital note-taking, I mentioned that'll be next month's topic, OneNote. And then math formula editing, that's called Equation Editor in Microsoft. Sure. Venmo? Venmo? Vimeo. I'm not familiar with that. Now there's Venmo, VE, and that's a payment app. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Vin.
When I left my previous job and they wrote a new job description, they said the person needed to have Vimeo. And I had never heard of it, and I had no idea what it was, but my replacement was expected to have it.
Oh, maybe it's a software or a package. What field were you in? Were you in a doctor's office or? Okay, because some of the companies like 3M now is replacing a lot of stuff that they had with what's called an ERP system, and that ERP system they prefer people have experience with that, and so there's other packages. Yeah, I hadn't heard of Venmo there. Okay. Yeah, well, lots of stuff there. Yeah, so the other thing when you look at what you need is all these different packages will create and let you edit files in a certain format. And one of the questions is, do you need to open, create, and exchange files with other people or with other companies? If a company is using a particular system, that's where you want compatibility to be able to send and receive files or open files potentially from them. Most of the alternatives do use a proprietary format, so their format is a little different than what Microsoft's is. But they let you export or import from a Microsoft format. So if somebody sent you a Word document and they wanted you to look at it or make some changes, most of these options you can open up the Word document and actually make changes and then save it back in a Word format. It may not look exactly the same, but the functionality, most of the functionality will be there. So you want to determine your needs for what file formats if you're going to be passing files back and forth with other people, other groups you deal with, other businesses that you might be working with. And like I say, most of them will support some form of importing from one format and exporting in another format. Not all of these different alternatives will preserve the formatting when exporting to a Microsoft Office file. And that can be a problem when sending documents back and forth with people. So it may use different fonts, which means that the lines will look a little bit different, or the words may wrap a little differently in one package than they do in another package. Another option that you have nowadays with these Office suites or that is whether it's local on your computer or it's cloud-based software. And the cloud-based requires the advantage is nothing has to be installed on your laptop or desktop, and it's kept up to date all the time, and it's not requiring that you have a high-powered computer or memory or stuff like that. So there are advantages to using some of these cloud-based solutions there. The disadvantage to using the cloud-based solutions, though, is if you don't have a connection to the internet, so you're in a place where you can't connect or your laptop you can't connect or that, then you can't get at your files or the system there. So along with the software, you have your local files. Those are usually stored either locally on the computer or cloud-based also. So that's a decision you have to kind of figure out which is going to be the best for you. And then the other is devices and operating systems supported. So some of these you can use on almost any device, whether it's a tablet that you have, a phone that you have, a laptop, a desktop, an Apple computer, a Microsoft computer. So they vary about what devices they can run on. And then this I mentioned a little bit earlier, the collaboration. That's between products and people. So sometimes in business it's important to be able to share files with other employees, or if you're working with clubs or other organizations, they may be using a particular package, so you're having to create it in their format or read or update stuff. And if you're co-authoring stuff and have to make edits, you want to use a system that'll allow you to send and receive in the file format that the other people are using. For most free options, support and assistance is done using a forum message or an FAQ. So there's no hotline or 800 number to call up for a lot of the free options like you might have with some of the paid options. Okay, so what do you need? All the solutions, whether they're the more inexpensive solutions from Microsoft or the alternatives to the Microsoft, all of them support basic features. So when they talk about things like word processing, they all can let you do a minimal amount of word processing. It's just some of the more advanced stuff may not be there. So not every option, whether it's from Microsoft or these other alternatives, will support all features, whether it's things like macros or unlimited file size. And what you want to do if you're considering switching or trying some of these is try these options with your most complex file. And your most complex file, maybe you create a word processing file that has, let's say, bookmarks in it and table of contents or tables and things like that. And you want to see if one of these alternatives is the right fit for you. Other examples of advanced features that may not be available, things like in word processing, some of the packages don't support tables or styles or mail merge or macros or track changes. Now, a lot of people don't use these options, but if this is an option that's important to you, you want to make sure that the package that you're going to use does support that. In spreadsheets, you have more complex things like pivot tables, maybe advanced charts and macros, presentation, edit slides, excuse me, animation. So there's lots of things to consider when looking at an option. Which option is right for you, and what option is right for you is different than what option might be right for somebody else, because you may be more advanced than they are. You may have to share files with other people. So that's why it's important to know what your needs are, and that'll let you figure out what's best there. But even within Microsoft, there's lots of options, and we'll talk about these Microsoft options now. Microsoft 365 is the name of a service formerly known as Office 365. So Microsoft bundled all this software together and sells it as Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 Personal includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, Skype, Sway, Publisher, and Access. And it's available for $69 a year. That's for one user, can use it on up to 5 devices, and 1 terabyte of cloud storage. The software runs on a Windows and a Mac, and you can have local files, or they can be stored up on OneDrive, up on the server. It includes advanced security for all your devices. You get free updates whenever they're available, and you get free unlimited chat and telephone support. And that's for $69 a year. They also have a version called Microsoft 365 Family, same products again, but for $99 a year, you get it for the entire family, up to 6 people. Each person can have 5 devices. You get the same storage. It'll run on a Mac or Windows, and it comes with the free unlimited support there. Okay, another option is Microsoft Home and Student 2021. That's a pared down version. You just get Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote, and the cost of that is, depending on whether you're a student or where you buy it, can vary from $40 to $149. It's a one-time cost, so you're not paying every year, but when you buy the version, the 2021, you can only use it on one device. There are no updates, so if they come out with a new version, you have to buy a new version for another $40 or whatever. No additional OneDrive storage, and you get 60-day support via chat or phone. The software runs on the Windows and the Mac. You can store your files up on OneDrive. Microsoft also sells a similar version of Office 21 Professional Plus and Home Business, and that's about the same price also. So this is even another version from Microsoft. They call it Office on the Web, and it was formerly called Office Online. It includes basic versions of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. It has free cloud-based with your files on OneDrive, so there's no cost per month. There's no buying a license there. And if all you need are the basic, this is an option worth trying before paying for some of these other versions from Microsoft. You do need a free Microsoft account, and when you create a Microsoft account, you do get 5 gigabytes of OneDrive storage, cloud storage, and if you need more than that, you can buy additional storage for $1.99 a month for 100 gigabytes of storage. Again, it's basic versions of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Doesn't have all the full features in that. And let's just take a quick look out here. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but this is a Microsoft website that explains the difference between the free version and the paid version. So this is showing some of the features in Word. This is if it's available on the web version and if it's available on the desktop version. So you can see things like live layout. Well, that's not available in this web version, but styles are, autosave, this, captions aren't available. Bibliography is not available, but most everything is available. Obviously, fonts, find and replace, tables, things like that are all available there. So this goes through quite an extensive list of all these different features, and the free version does contain the most common things that people do. It's just some of the more advanced things which are not. And then that's also true of Excel. Here it's comparing this free version of Excel to the paid version there. What's the differences there? And again, the basic stuff is all available for free there. It's only some of the more advanced things that are not available in the free version there. So you can see a lot of yeses there. The majority of the features are out there and available. Let's see. So that's the difference there. Let's go right out here. I'm going out to Microsoft here. So this is the free version of Microsoft. And I went to their website, so there's no software that I had to load. I just, on my laptop here, I'm just going out to the Microsoft Office website, and I can create files, I can edit files. So if we go in here, and let's say we wanted to create a new file, I can start up Word here. And Word, it says there's some existing, I may have existing documents, or I can start a new one. So if I want to start a new blank document, I can use that template. There's a bunch of templates that it has that I could have used. This is, so this opens up Word, and you can see, looks like the standard Word. We've got lots of options, and the menus up above here. We can change our fonts and do all our stuff. And to do anything, I can just start typing. So it works like a standard processor. I can highlight if I wanted to bold words. Let's bold some of this. I can bold that. Let's say and I can put anything at all in here, and I can run the spell check, and I can get things spell checked. But I can create any document. I can edit a document, save it up there. I can share it with other people if I want them to be able to see it. So there's a lot of things that you can do. It's a basic version of Word. Again, not every feature, not every function is there, but the most common ones are. And even things like this. So here, I can go here and I can use the mic here. So I can dictate. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their party, period. Today, I am giving a presentation at Carondelet on the options available for Microsoft Office. And so you can see it does a very good job there. If you've never used the dictation, and that can be especially handy for people that aren't as stable typing or things like that. And that's available in the free version. This is the free version of Microsoft Word here.
If you trust their translation of your word.
Yes, I mean obviously you can watch it and you can go back and you can have it delete and you can manually change things, but in general it does a pretty good job. I won't say perfect, but it does a good job there. Okay. So those are the options that you have from Microsoft, and lots of options from Microsoft, paid and free, and so that's a certainly consider those before just shelling out money that you maybe don't need to there. There are some alternatives, and one of the biggest competitor would be Google. Google has an alternative there, and it's also has word processing, this docs, sheets, slides, forms, Meet, chat, and Gmail. It's a free cloud base with your files stored on Google Drive. They also make apps for an Android or an iOS tablet or smartphone are also available. Again, if all you need are the basics, this is an option worth trying before paying for features that you may never use. This has a few more features and functions than what the free version of Microsoft has. So it doesn't have all the features and function of the paid Microsoft Word version, but it has more features than the free Microsoft Word version. To use it, you do need a free Google account. Anyone can sign up for that, and with that you get 15 gigabytes of storage, or if you need more, you can pay $1.99 a month for 100 gigabytes of storage. It uses web fonts, so there are some conversion issues if you're, again, sharing files or opening files that people had created in other packages. It has to convert it to a different font, and so that alignment and how it looks may be slightly different there. Some advanced features can be added in Google through what they call add-ons plug integration. So that's where some of the mail merge functions and things like that may not be available in the Google Docs, but if you put in one of these add-ons, now you can do mail merge and some advanced things like that. Personally, I use this option for most of the files that I create and for the PC Club files that I create. So I'm not paying a subscription to Microsoft. I use the Google Docs and store most of my files out there.
Is there a cost for the add-on plugins?
No, there's no cost for the add-on plugins. It's just other people or companies have wanted to add to Google Docs. So Google Docs, there isn't a paid version of Google Docs, so you can't upgrade and pay more that for Google Docs. Google Docs and the add-ons, there's no charge, ever a charge there. Okay? Okay, another alternative is something called LibreOffice. Now, yeah, this isn't, I mean, you were talking about VIB. Now, LibreOffice is very popular in some businesses that you have a word processor, a calc, a presentation, drawing, and a database, and it's free. It runs on a Windows, Macintosh, Linux with local files, or they can be up on the cloud. Libre doesn't have its own cloud service, but if you have Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive, you can store your files up there. It's based on OpenOffice, which I'll mention another package, Apache, a little bit later. This is a group of programmers around the world created it, and they wanted to create it as an alternative to Microsoft and it to be free, so it would never be a charge there. It has a very strong and dedicated user base who rave about it. It has a flexible interface that can feel a lot like Office, but it doesn't have any integrated cloud storage or collaboration tools. It does include a database. Now, a lot of people don't do stuff with databases, but most of the other free options I talk about do not have a database. So if you want a free database, this is one of the options that you should consider. I personally recommend using this free option if you need more than basic Microsoft Office in the web or what Google provides. So it is a nice option there. And a demo here. Let's see if we can pull up a demo. So it's a package that you install and on your computer or Mac or Windows. It works on all of them. And LibreOffice should start up here. And this lets you do the similar type of things. It'll bring up files that you've already done. If I wanted to create a new file, I can go to Writer here, and it'll start up the new file here. It'll start up Writer. Come on here. And you can see it looks similar to Word or others. You've got lots of options up here. This does have more options than what you find in a Google Docs, so it does have a few more things there, but it is quite sophisticated. And again, you know, you can do your standard things, bold, do anything there, and you can save it in different formats. So you could both read existing Word files and you could save it as a Word file also. So lots of options there. I won't save this. Let's go back.
What does it mean when you say it doesn't have integrated cloud storage?
What I mean by it doesn't have integrated cloud storage is that LibreOffice doesn't have a website that you go out to store your files. You can utilize like the Microsoft Cloud to store your files or the Google Cloud to store your files, but there's no Libre Cloud or that to store your files or to buy additional storage to store your files and make them available to other people. You can store them on your own computer, and so you can have them on your laptop or your desktop. And if I have Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive, I can edit and store files up there. It just there is no Libre, because since Libre is a company that is there isn't a giant corporation behind it that is putting massive servers in place. It's programmers that create the software that make it available, but they don't sell cloud storage and cloud services there. Okay? What are some other alternatives? So there are other alternatives. If you have Apple, iPhone, or a Mac or that, you already have the Apple Office Suite, or sometimes called iWork. That has Pages, which is their word processor, Numbers, which is their spreadsheet, and Keynote, which is their presentation. It's free. It runs on the Mac with files local, or you can use the Apple iCloud. There's also an online version that anyone can access for free through the iCloud. So even though I have a Windows computer here, I can go into my browser, and if I have an Apple account, and you can get a free Apple account, I can create and utilize pages, numbers, and Keynote up on the Apple servers there. Like the others, it's good for the basics. Microsoft file export and compatibility can be a little bit of a problem because the fonts can vary a little bit, the layouts and the image sizing can. But it's a very good option if you have a Mac or you work with people that are creating most of their files on a Macintosh or an Apple computer there. Another option is Apache OpenOffice. That has a word processor of Calc, which is their spreadsheet, Impress, Draw, Base, and Math. It's free. It runs on Windows and the Mac and Linux. It has basic open source software. Complex macros and formulas can have a problem, and it's weak on presentations. So you may have heard of Apache, but it's not as popular as LibreOffice. LibreOffice is more popular because it has more features and functions and that. WPS is another option that has a spreadsheet and word processor. It's free, but there's ads that pop up. So like the LibreOffice and Apache and that, you don't see any ads. Which is nice. But this particular option, there are ads. If you don't want the ads, it's $30 a year. Well, if you're going to be paying $30 a year, maybe you can buy these other options or get these other free options. So it's not a real popular one, but it is out there. Then there's FreeOffice. FreeOffice has a word processor, spreadsheet, and presentation, runs on Windows. It doesn't have quite as many functions, but again, it's one of those packages that some companies or some individuals find that it does enough for what they want to do. Zoho Writer, it's a similar type of deal, although their paid versions, they have a free version and it goes up to $80 a year. Cloud-based, it's used by some of the companies who don't want to use Microsoft or Apple products. So companies like Nike and the BBC use Zoho. Other information I mentioned on here, the last thing you don't go into Google and search for free Microsoft Office. If you do that, almost 100% of the sites that you see listed in the results there, if you click on them and try and download anything, they're a virus or a scam to get money from you or put a virus on your computer. So you have to be very careful because the scammers know that people are looking for free software and they know that if a person clicks on it and downloads it, you have to be very careful that you're not downloading a virus there. I mentioned Microsoft OneNote, and in fact, next month I'll be giving the presentation on OneNote. It's a free download. There's no cost for OneNote. There is no paid version of OneNote also, and it is cloud-based. It's a great note-taking software for free-form information and gathering. So if you've heard of software like Evernote, Evernote used to be a big note-taking application. More and more people have switched from Evernote to OneNote. It lets you gather your notes, your drawings, your clippings, any information that you have, you can accumulate there. And we'll be talking about it next month. Also, there is Microsoft Sway. Sway is a free presentation program that lets you create slideshows, newsletters, resumes, blogs, and more. that Microsoft just came out with a couple of years ago. Personally, I haven't tried it yet because I use other packages, but it may be worth giving a try if you do create any of these things there. That's it for the formal presentation. Any questions or comments there?
How safe is the cloud? How secure is the cloud?
Yeah, the question, I'll repeat it for the people watching online or on the TV there. How safe is the cloud? The cloud is usually safer than your own computer. And the reason for that, a couple of reasons for that is, one, if you just have stuff on, let's say, your laptop at any point you could drop it, or it could get stolen, or a virus could attack it and hold your data hostage. If you don't have it backed up, you've lost that data. You've lost all the stuff out there. So the cloud is going to be backed up. The cloud is, especially a company like Apple or Microsoft or Google, they aren't going to go away tomorrow. If they do start going down, it may be 10 years before they go away, or 20 years before they go away. They aren't going to disappear. And as far as the data itself being secure, when I create let's say I create a document, a Word document out there, that document is stored up on the cloud servers, and it's in what's called encrypted. That encrypted means all it is ones and zeros. Anyone that doesn't have my account and password cannot decrypt the file to see what's in there. So even if it was somebody who worked, let's say, for Microsoft and could get to my file there, they could not decrypt it or see what's in the file. They'd have to know my account and password. That's by default. The only person that can access the files that I put up on the cloud are myself. And so if that person doesn't have my account and password, they cannot do anything with those files. Now, once I have the files up on the cloud, if I choose, I can share a file with somebody else. And when I share it with somebody else, then I'm giving them the permission to open up the file or edit the file, whatever I choose there. But I'd have to give permission to somebody for them to be able to open it up and to do anything with it. By default, that file is just available to me, and anybody else looking at that file is not going to see any of its contents or be able to read anything in there. So does that make sense there? Yeah, so the cloud in general, it is much more secure than your individual machine. And actually, if you looked around at like laptops now, it used to be that laptops kept adding bigger and bigger hard drives for you to store information. Now the reverse is almost all the laptops have less and less storage on them, because the idea is you should be storing your data up on the cloud. So when I store my data up on the cloud, another big advantage there is it's not locally on this machine, it's available at the cloud. So if I want to look at a file or do anything, I can look at it and do stuff with my phone. Or if I have a tablet, I can use a tablet. Or if I go to a public library and there's a computer there, I could log in and I could get at my stuff, which makes it, again, very useful because it's not stored locally. So if this laptop was stolen or the house that I live in burned down, my data is still out there. It's not destroyed in that fire or anything there. So it's nice to have the data available. Uh, uh, and that's kind of the beauty of the cloud, with it being backed up, being secure, and yet you do have the option of sharing it with other people there. But if you choose, just keep it to yourself. But myself, I can access it from any device that I use my account and password on. So I can get at it from anywhere. So that's the nice thing about it. And it makes setting up a new computer easier too, because then a lot of files don't have to be loaded locally on hard drives or things like that also. And then you don't have, well, I know a number of people when I started working at 3M, if you wanted to edit a document, you'd send it in an email to somebody else, and then they'd make a change, and maybe they send it back, and you end up with these multiple copies and things like that all over the place. Well, that gets very confusing to try and merge all the changes together, or know which copy is the most recent or the up-to-date. Or you may have 6 copies which all are different. You don't know which one is the real one. Having one shared copy up on the cloud, that controls and everybody's looking at the same version, can make changes at any time, given the permissions. They have to be given permissions in that. They can make changes, and everybody is kept in sync there. Okay. Any other question? Lots of options out there from Microsoft. Most people that I talk with have no idea of all the different versions that are out there, or if you worked for a company, maybe the company purchased a version, and then when they leave the company, they want to have the same package. So then they start looking around, and it can get confusing on which version might be the best for them. And like I say, for one person, the free version is going to work. For another person, they may need or use more of the features and functions, in which case the other version, one of the other versions might be a better deal there. Okay. Well, thanks for coming.